Welcome, everybody. This is Justin and Archie from 117 West Spirits, and we're here today to talk about our pot distilled white rum. We're going to give you some tasting notes, and we're going to talk about how we use it in the tasting room in cocktails. Archie, what would you say makes our white rum different from other people's rums?
Well, as we kind of decided to use just cane sugar and yeast basically to make our rum, so it's more like a Brazilian style rum, or even kind of to the tune of how some Nicaraguan rums are made. They kind of do the cane sugar method as well, and even some Guatemalan rums, they also like to use cane sugar. We kind of like, I don't know, are we still using the same original yeast that we did back in the early...
Yeah, the champagne yeast.
Champagne yeast, yeah, right. So we also use champagne yeast, which all gives it a unique flavor as well. So that's what kind of makes our rum kind of distinct. What's interesting is our first run of rum is the first thing that we entered in competition. We were only in business for like 3 weeks, and then we decided to enter our rum into competition. We actually medaled, so it's been one of our stalwart first spirits that it's been around since we began, and it's still one of our, and will remain one of my favorites.
Yeah. So when I'm smelling it on the nose, I get a nice kind of big like fruit.
Yeah, I get some fruit. I get a little bit of almost like some banana peel in there too.
Banana, yeah. Or like pear maybe.
Oh yeah.
And maybe on the I would say you could almost pick up the cane sugar.
Oh yeah.
Since that is a good point, that we're not using molasses, which is a very popular ingredient for making most rums, like Jamaican rums and a lot of Caribbean rums. So the cane sugar is different, and it produces a really nice smooth light rum. But yeah, I think the fruitiness stands out the most. Maybe even like a little bit of nuttiness.
I kind of almost get like a tiny bit of breadiness to it. Actually, some people come in here, they liken it to tequila, but I don't get those notes. I get a lot of that banana. I get a little bit of bready notes.
Well, not to jump too far ahead, but we using it in the tasting room, it makes a great daiquiri, which isn't too far off from a margarita.
That's true. That is absolutely true, and that is one of our first ever cocktails that I drank here. Was one of our 117 West White Rum daiquiris, and it was spectacular.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. The first time I ever made this into a cocktail was a daiquiri, and when I made it into a daiquiri, I realized we can actually sell this.
Yeah, right. And then I remember one of our first tasting events ever. I wasn't much of an aficionado of drinking spirits neat at that point. I was drinking cocktails like daiquiris and rum and coke and everything. And so we tasted this rum, and they said this was the first decent rum that I tasted at that particular tasting event, and I now understand, now that I start to drink spirits neat, I can see where he's coming from. This tastes as good as batch one. This is just so good. It's so smooth. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, what would you say about the flavors when you're tasting?
Now, on the flavor notes, I'm getting actually a little bit of, almost a tiny bit of honey, a little bit of honey in there. I'm getting a little bit of vanilla notes.
Yeah, the vanilla. I pick up the vanilla too. It's kind of like just the creaminess of the mouthfeel.
Right. Yeah.
Whether that vanilla is really there or not, it just kind of tastes like that.
Boy, the finish is just nice and warming. Without a bite, though, the smoothness is remarkable.
Yeah, I really feel like it's not too hot. Where a lot of white rums, since they aren't aged, have a real strong kind of bite or hotness to them. I think the mouthfeel, the fact that it's pot distilled, lends a great smooth character and a real nice mouthfeel, like I said. So, this is, clearly something you could drink neat. I don't know that maybe people buy it for that reason, but what cocktails, besides the daiquiri that we talked about, do you like to make with this white rum?
Well, now, it is a key component to any kind of tiki drink, and what I find is it's a perfect foundation for all of them, and really... recently, what we've been making is Mai Tais at home with your video recipe actually works out really well, and I find this to be outstanding base rum on that too. So I also really enjoy this in not only a daiquiri, but I also like it in a grapefruit daiquiri. That was one thing that we kind of introduced here, and I tried that. That was spectacular too, because it actually adds a little bit more sweetness and the tang of the lime. So when that grapefruit comes forward mixed with this, it's just wonderful. Wonderful.
It makes a great mojito too.
Oh yeah, the mojito is excellent. You know, simply this with lemonade is an outstanding, just wonderfully refreshing drink. A friend of ours that comes in here and makes homemade pink lemonade, and we combine that with this rum, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah, this is a delicious white rum, robust flavor, real crisp finish. I think it could be used for any rum-based cocktail.
Absolutely.
Probably even make a good, like a rum Mirada. Remember when we made those? The rum Mirada.
Those were delicious. Those were delicious. I forgot about the rum Mirada. That was good. That was delicious. Yeah. So you can really get creative with this one for sure. There's the possibilities are kind of endless. Anything that includes rum, and I think that the foundation and the smoothness will really kind of set your rum cocktail apart.
Yeah, so bronze medal winner at the 2017?
Yeah, 17.
2018, one of those years, ADI judging spirits award ceremony.
Maybe it was 18.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly which year. It's all kind of.
It was like January. That's right.
It all blends together. Right, yeah, it's like which year is the Super Bowl again?
Exactly.
All right, so to finish this off here, Archie's gonna share one of his infamous dad jokes. So.
Yeah, well, we all know when dad jokes become dad jokes, when they become apparent.
All right, so now we have the barrel-aged rum. This is our white rum, and it's been aged for a little bit less than a year in bourbon barrels. And I think that's really why this aged rum stands out, because it's aged in bourbon barrels, so it takes on some of that whiskey flavor. We are, I think, first and foremost, a whiskey distillery, but we do make gin and rum, and we do not take making those products lightly. We, put only our best foot forward when it comes to making anything. And of all the three rums, just to put it out there, this is my favorite. It's a great sipping rum, and so we're gonna go through and do a little more tasting. And
it's a sleeper. It's our sleeper spirit.
It's the sleeper spirit. Yeah, for a long time we had a lot on the shelves, and nobody wanted to buy it.
Nobody even knew about it. But then when people were into it, it's really great. So.
Exactly. So, so what do you think about the nose?
This one's also aged in our bourbon barrels, by the way. So you'll read that as well too. So we kind of went through 3 different choices of barrels before we kind of locked into bourbon barrels.
Yeah, it was kind of the first batch was like a blend. I think we some bourbon and some whiskey, and we ended up blending them together. The bourbon though definitely really complements, and you can even
you get that. You really get.
You can pick it up on the nose, right? It kind of that corn sweetness comes through on the nose, and it's got
kind of almost like it's like an apricot on that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Boy, it really changed the complexity of that rum. Boy, it does.
Yeah,
wow, there's some caramel, vanilla notes on that, like almost like a butterscotch.
It's definitely worth tasting, I think, the white rum and this rum side by side, because it shows you what happens through the aging process, and it is really a perfect example. I think using new oak would be overpowering on this, and you don't get too much oakiness, but you get the kind of the beautiful like coconutty, fruitiness from the aging. So what about the flavors?
But it blends also in with the that bourbon and the rum. That banana and that. Oh wow.
Yeah, banana.
It still comes through a tiny bit there too.
Yeah, the isoamyl acetate or the banana is definitely characteristic of something that you get from aging rum.
Wow, it's a totally different animal. Completely.
Yeah, I get a big vanilla note on the flavor.
Huge.
Yeah.
But the butterscotch really started to come forward after with the on the back of your throat. Wow, and the nose, that vanilla and butterscotch.
Yeah, the butterscotch, like caramel. Okay, it's hard to say caramelliness.
Exactly.
Like kind of like marshmallowy, like roasted marshmallows, maybe.
Yeah, now this one is another one that you can also substitute in for all those tiki drinks, but I wouldn't overwhelm it with too much fruit. But boy, it definitely will change your daiquiri completely. It really takes it up to the next level. I found that. We kind of played around with this a little bit. You know what we found was really amazing with this was an old fashioned.
Yeah, rum old fashioned.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The barrel aged rum old fashioned was really, really good.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. This one's one that you can just drink neat. This is the one that's delicious. And we have one of those whiskey guys that comes in every Thursday. He always kind of leaves with one of these bottles, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. One of our regulars does like to pick up one of these bottles whenever he's in here.
I can see why now.
Yeah,
it's very approachable.
I think it's like a crossover for if you're a whiskey lover, right?
Yeah.
You want to do some tiki style drinks.
Yeah.
You know, you could use this, and it's going to give you a little bit of that kind of bourbony or whiskey flavor in your tiki drink. It would be great in a painkiller. It's great in just about any tiki drink. I also think it would be great as a way to kind of like change up a Mai Tai a little bit. Add a little bit more of that kind of caramely vanilla flavor to it. Kind of
change the ratio of the white rum to a more of a leaning on this aged rum.
Exactly.
That's a good idea, actually.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a great point where you can like take kind of like half and half, an ounce of each, the white rum and this aged rum, and it just adds kind of another layer to your cocktail.
You know what I've done too is we usually do when our dark and stormy here in our tasting room, we kind of feature our spice rum and our white rum, but I've been kind of tending to float this on top instead of the spice rum.
Yeah.
To give it more of that, Myers feel,
Totally.
And, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, and floating it on the Mai Tai.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the dark rum, you float a little bit of this on the Mai Tai is another thing to do.
I almost had to smack one of my friends because they were like mixing this one time at my house. And I kind of caught him on the sly. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I was going to put a little mixer in there." I'm like, "Oh, all right, if you have to." And he pulled out a Sprite.
Sprite?
Yeah, but it was really crazy. It was like kind of like made it like a creamsicle. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So it was pretty delicious. I couldn't argue. Anyway, this is a good one right here.
This is definitely a good one. Yeah, great nose, amazing flavor.
Just really on the butterscotch on that nose is insane.
Yeah, this is what? This one is...
Did we age that almost a year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's about a year on that, right?
It's about a year.
So don't be fooled. Everybody, when you're buying the aged rum, you ever find it, you order it, it's on the label, it says 6 months, but that's just a starting point. We go minimum 6 months.
Yeah,
so
that was kind of the lucky...
Was the first one, right?
The first one was 6 months, but then...
that was like a new oak.
Well, and then because it was a sleeper, it didn't sell very quickly, we had the luxury of kind of sitting on it.
Oh.
Right? Yeah, and letting it pick up all of those...
Did you just forget it was in the barrel?
No.
Just like, hey, oh, wait.
Yeah, what's that one over in the corner?
Oh, wow, that's sitting there for a while. We should probably taste this one and see how it is. It's amazing. Anyways, this one actually rapidly came up the charts for me, and I'm enthusiastically promoting this one because it's really. I think it's actually have a promotion on this one.
We do have a promotion on this one. Yeah. In August of this year, 2020, you can pick up a bottle of this and the spice rum and the white rum, all for $80.
Wow, that's a good deal.
And you get free shipping.
What? You gotta jump all over that.
So unfortunately, you have to live in California, but
if you know somebody who lives in California, we can ship to them, and then they can ship to you. I didn't say that. You didn't hear that. All right. Anyway. Okay. So this is a delicious one. I'm gonna leave you with a little humor. This is one of my old school favorite ones to tell my 6th graders when they're just about ready to move on to 7th grade, when they're just mature enough to hear this one. So this guy walks into a psychiatrist's office, and all he's wearing is saran wrap. And the doctor comes out and says, "Clearly I can see your nuts." Thank you. It's one of Justin's favorites.
It is. It is one of my favorites.
All right.
So now we are going to taste and talk about our spiced rum here at 117 West.
The final of the trilogy.
The final, to use a trite expression, the last, but not least, the spiced rum.
It's not like Star Wars at the end of that trilogy.
Yeah, well,
so
we'll have some prequels.
Yeah,
and stuff,
exactly. You never know how we're going to do. All right, anyway, continue.
So this one is super unique for a spiced rum because we're heavily inspired by the ingredients we have available on the West Coast with this product. It's very citrus forward. We haven't even nosed it or tasted it. Of course, we have drank it before, probably more than we should have. It is definitely a crowd pleaser as far as our lineup of spirits goes.
I think it's the most unique of our spirits, too.
Definitely.
Well, that Mirada. But anyway, this one's truly unique.
Very unique, and not a typical spiced rum in that sense. And it's important to recognize that when you taste it. But there's tons of stories, and maybe we'll talk about some of them as we go through and nose and taste this. But I think this one most people fall in love with who are fans of rum coke.
Absolutely.
It can go in painkillers. It can go in all kinds of tiki drinks. It can liven up a daiquiri.
That was my first error at the distillery, was making a daiquiri with spice rum. We were really busy one day, and I forgot what I had, and I forgot what I was making, and I just happened to put spice rum into the daiquiri, mixing glass or actually the shaker, and the gentleman that was at the bar, he's like, "Who cares? Go for it." I'm like, "All right, sounds good." And he said it was the best drink he's ever had. So, anyway, I deemed that one the best. I deemed that the cocktail the mistake. It was my first mistake, but it turned out to be one of those great things, because I guess that's how a lot of things come about.
Yeah, fortuitously.
Absolutely.
Mistake. We need to put that one on the menu.
We do, indeed. So this is a one that again, we just start with our base white rum, and we kind of morph it into these other products. And this was again one of our first of our 3 spirits that we had in our lineup, because this was one of the 3 unaged products that we could make. So we infuse our white rum with 8 all natural spices.
Yeah, what do you pick up on the nose? Not talking about what's in there.
I know.
Right? We know what's in there, but just trying to focus on
it's like everybody, when we come in, I kind of get the common thread of Christmas. Everybody goes, "Oh, it smells just like Christmas."
It does.
It does. But I get
not a Yule log, but
no, not yeah, no. Yes, no savory treats of Christmas though. Definitely it's like a potpourri. So what am I getting? I'm getting
a lot of kind of like a cinnamony.
Oh yeah.
Right, and like a little bit of vanilla maybe. And the citrus on the nose, I feel like there's a hint of citrus, but
it doesn't come that forward. I get some of that vanilla for sure.
Yeah, the vanilla and the cinnamon, I think, kind of flavor.
Some nutmeg.
And the nutmeg. Yeah. So.
Well, you know what? I don't get that citrus on the note. It's very subtle.
Yeah, well, I guess just because I know it's there.
Well, yeah. I know
I'm like, it's gotta be in there somewhere. Yeah, I feel like I pick up a little orange, but in the flavors.
Definitely get that orange coming forward now. Getting some ginger notes.
Yeah.
Ooh, clove.
Yeah, so one of the stories that I wanted to share about the taste of the spiced rum is one of our friends who's also a salesman from a supplier we use, this guy named Andy. He came in and tasted this, and I remember he was tasting it, and I was doing some work in the back, and he runs in the back and he's like, "Oh my God, this tastes like clove gum from when I was a kid."
Oh, I remember clove gum.
And he picked up, because like clove, we use so little clove. But for some people, they're very sensitive to that.
It's very
and it comes through on the flavor, and especially the finish. I feel like you get a big kind of clove note. And he's like, "But that's a great thing because it reminds me of being a kid, and I loved clove gum, and this tastes just like." I was like, "Well, awesome.
You must
that's
be
great."
One of the 3 kids in the block that like clove gum.
Yeah, right. And that's why he became a distiller.
My goodness gracious.
And now is a salesman for a beer and distillery supplier.
I think clove gum was back in the 50s. They had that stuff.
Well, I think they've re-released it. Throwback retro gum. I don't know. So hopefully it wasn't
the same people that bring you the blackjack gum.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, it's you definitely get a lot of citrus, and the ginger gives it like a nice sharpness.
Yeah, and it actually gets it produces a little bit of heat, believe it or not. more heat than the edges were really kind of lifted on the aged,
right?
And then, but they were super smooth on the pot still white rum.
Yeah.
But really, I think with the added spice, it actually gave it a little bit of extra heat.
Yeah, well,
I mean, not bad. I like it.
Yeah, and I think I think it's like a perceived heat too, because the spices get your palate going, and you think that it's heat, but it might be the spiciness. But it's I think it's a great mixer. Is usually what I'm using it for. It's not typical that I sit down and just drink this straight, but if you want a little bit of spice in any cocktail, this will do it for you.
Yeah. Oh, and the dark and stormy one, we originally did it too, because with the ginger beer and the ginger in the spice, it really kind of melds it together really nicely. So yeah, this was our OG, one of our biggest sellers in our opening months while we were awaiting whiskeys. But
well, in the early R&D stages too, I think this was one of the ones when we were talking about doing this. You're like, you tasted this, and you had some friends taste it, and you said, "Yeah, I think we can sell this. I think this is this is possible."
This is the reason I went into this, because this is the only thing I could actually drink at the time, and I drank it extensively. And also, to add on to that story, this was actually my very first spirit that you made, and I was sharing with my friends, and I actually was able to proclaim happily that I am drunk on our own spirits. So this was a good day. We were up in the mountains, and I actually had a little too much of the rum, I guess, that night, and it was delicious. And I'm so glad that we put it in early stage of our lineup, because it is an amazing rum. And I really think our still has really kind of enhanced it since that early stages too. Yeah. But we were just playing around with the different ratios and different spices.
Yeah. So, and the other thing to note, and Archie's the one who's typically doing this work, is basically we prepare everything, all the ingredients, they're all fresh, natural ingredients. We're using fresh lemon and orange peel, fresh ginger. We use whole vanilla beans, not extract. And we use, whole cloves, whole allspice, cacao nibs, and ginger. And I think
the whole nutmeg, we crushed
that. And the nutmeg, yeah. So it's all whole, fresh ingredients, which I think just kind of, kicks it up to another level in terms of the flavors.
No artificial flavors at all. Really, it really gives that whole. You can actually kind of pull almost each of those flavors out now. Once you know which ones are in there, you can actually kind of sense them.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, mistakenly, they always want to come back and say there's cinnamon in it.
Well, all spices.
Because I think they all kind of blend together to kind of give you that cinnamon.
Well, the allspice gives you like a cinnamon.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. The allspice. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, super delicious.
Oh yeah, super true. Well, in the theme of summer, I just want to let you guys know that I love to go camping with my wife because it's intense. Oh, I know, that was terrible. Wait a second, hold on. I got another one. Hey, past, present, and future went into a bar. It was intense. All right, that was not a good intense joke, but let's finish this last one. Hey, did you hear about the fire at the circus? It was intense. Those are my 3 intense jokes. All right, have a nice day.
All right, thank you guys very much. This was our Spice Drum. We hope you enjoyed this review and tasting from the co-owners of 117 West, Archie and Justin.
Best part of the job right here.
Quality control.
Absolutely. If it doesn't taste good to me, it won't taste good to you, so we want to make sure it's good.
So please follow us on our YouTube channel or subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's a lot of great different things out there. Cocktail tutorials, some
bitters recipes,
even some live stream music.
That was good stuff. Katie Skeen, excellent.
So and then this month, August 2020, we will be having a special on our 3 rums, rum 3-pack, free shipping. So thank you for watching.
117west.com. Check us out online. Go to our online store. Pick up 3 bottles this weekend. We'll get it out to you, and you can enjoy your summer with some delicious 117 West. And follow us on YouTube, because we have tons of cocktail videos that will highlight and showcase these particular spirits that we have shown you today.
Cheers.